Right now you train consistently, spend hours in the gym every week, but somehow still look like you never stepped into one. The frustration of not seeing progress has led you down a path of chasing the perfect plan, whereby you've been chucking training split shit at the wall and hoping something will stick. Full body, push-pull legs, upper-lower, bro split. Nothing's made a difference. Why is that? The reality is every good training program follows a handful of principles. This is the exact checklist I use when I build a program for a client. I've trained YouTubers, cameramen, accountants, young dads who all have completely different schedules. And that's why I created the checklist to make sure I build each one of them the perfect training program. The first item on the checklist, does it fit your schedule? By far the biggest mistake most guys make when building a training plan is that it's not realistic. Think about it, the start to a new plan normally comes after a spike in motivation. You probably just smash some press ups on your bedroom floor because you're sick of how you look and you're finally going to make a difference. So this new magic program that you type up on your notes app that's going to fix all your problems is created with motivation tinted glasses. All of a sudden you decide you're going to go to the gym 6 days a week despite the fact you currently struggle to go twice. And once the motivation wears off, you start to miss sessions. At the beginning it's not the end of the world, you know, you've been 5 times this week, you deserve a day off. But very quickly 5 sessions become 4, your plan's all over the place, and there's feelings of self-doubt creep in again. So to avoid that slippery slope, you need to be realistic with how many days you can actually train. Before you even think about what split you're going to do, the amount of days you can be in the gym needs to be locked in. Speaking of training splits, to decide the best split, we need to determine the second item on my checklist, training frequency. The most important thing you need to know about training frequency is that building muscle becomes a whole lot easier if you're training it 2 to 3 times a week instead of just once. And that's why I hate a bro split so much. For those of you who don't know, a bro split is where you train chest, back, shoulders, legs and arms all on 5 separate different days. Yeah, I get it, it's fun to absolutely destroy your chest, admire the pump, whack your top off and flex in the mirror. But this sort of split only trains each muscle once a week, and that's just going to leave gains on the table. Let's say if, like the bro split, you could realistically train 5 days a week, what would be a more effective split? Well, you'd build more muscle doing 3 upper body days and 2 lower body days spread across the week. It's then up to you to decide how you structure these sessions, but unless you fill the upper body sessions with just bicep curls, you're more than likely hitting all major muscle groups at least 2 to 3 times a week. This leads me perfectly onto the next item on the checklist. But before that, let's pretend that you've got the perfect training program by now. We've all been there when we walk into the gym at 6 PM after a long day's work and it's chocker. Everything you want is busy, your training program is crumbling in front of your eyes. Instead of waiting 20 minutes for a bench to be free, walking around aimlessly or skipping exercises, wouldn't it be great to know exactly what exercise to do instead of the one that you had programmed? That's exactly why I put together the ultimate exercise swap cheat sheet. It shows you what exercise swaps to make when the gym's busy, so you can get a proper workout in instead of waiting around like an idiot. Links in the description, download it so you can cross that problem off your list. Back to the checklist. Every successful training program needs to take into consideration rest and recovery. This isn't optional, it should be built into the program itself. Arguably the most difficult aspect of building a successful training program is finding the balance of getting sufficient training frequency with sufficient rest. What am I on about? Well, after training you need to give your muscles at least 48 hours of recovery before you hit them again. So if Monday's push day, there's no way you should be hitting chest again on Tuesday, even if your gym bro's doing chest day. Even hitting it on Wednesday might not be smart depending on how much volume you programmed. If you don't give yourself a chance to recover properly, even if you might feel alright, you're not putting yourself in a position to progress your lifts, meaning you're limiting how much muscle you can build. Or worse than that, insufficient rest could leave you constantly feeling exhausted, so you give up and wait till next year again. We don't want that happening, do we? Now the final item on my checklist is where I truly personalise plans for my clients, taking into consideration their preferences and weak points. Let's start with preferences. If you have exercises you enjoy, then you should do them. Enjoyment matters way more than people think. If you enjoy something, you're more likely to stick with it, push yourself on it, and then in turn make progress from it. The same applies to any exercises you hate. Sure, you don't need to love every exercise you're doing, but if you absolutely despise one, just don't do it. I, for one, absolutely hate the leg press machine. I don't know what it is, there might be some deep-rooted trauma that I've suppressed, but because of my hatred for it, I just don't do it. Even though it might look like it, that doesn't mean I skip legs. I train squats, lunges, split squats, exercises that I can get similar stimulus that I would do from the leg press. The leg press is a great exercise, don't get me wrong. I program it for most of my clients, but because I hate it, I just don't do it. It's that simple. Weak points are also a pretty easy fix, but should also be factored in. If you have a muscle group that lags behind the rest, train it more. As long as you still allow for 48 hours of recovery and don't program a ridiculous amount of volume, training your chest more than your back, for example, will lead to more muscle growth in that area. I bet you're happy that last item on the checklist was a bit more simple because we've gone into a lot of detail here. So right now I want you to take your current program and score it against those points. If it fails a couple of them, then that's probably where your progress is leaking. As an online coach, I've created countless programs to help guys pack on muscle and get into great shape. So take a look at your current program. Does it fit your schedule? Are you training muscles frequently enough? Allowing for sufficient rest and recovery? Is it addressing your weak points and matching your preferences? If not, then that could explain why you still look like you don't lift. And if this is all getting a little too much for your tiny little brain and you need a helping hand, then book in a coaching call and we'll go through it together. The link's in the description. Make sure to hit the subscribe button, and if you haven't already, grab the ultimate exercise swap cheat sheet in the description so you stop wandering around the gym aimlessly. And until the next time, catch you in a bit.